The holidays can bring plenty of joy, but also grief for ones that we've lost. Dr. Sheryl Ziegler is here now to talk more about this, especially during the holidays. I feel like grief just affects us differently. When you're thinking about the moments you had with the family members you've lost, it hits harder somehow. Is that true? It feels that way.
Yeah, I think birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays are just high point triggers. I mean, anybody in grief or who's missing somebody is thinking about them every day. But yes, the traditions and the memories that go around this time of year can really be especially painful for people.
And what can families do to honor someone that they've lost? Any ideas just to help them get through the holidays and kind of like reframe and...
Yeah. So there's two things that go on when we think about loss. One of them is the actual loss. You have the person has passed, you have those memories, you're thinking about ways to honor them. And there's also something called ambiguous loss. And for a lot of people, millions of people, that's the person's still alive. It could be a parent, a sibling, but you have been estranged from each other. You don't speak. Maybe they have dementia. Maybe they had some sort of, traumatic brain injury. Something has happened in which they are no longer there as well. So there's sort of two ways to honor them. I think the first one in which they have actually passed is by keeping up their tradition. Talk about them. Some people even set a place setting for them at the table. They make their stuffing, their meatloaf, whatever it is that's traditional, and they say it. This was grandma's. This was Uncle so-and-so's. And it's a way to keep them alive. Everybody can go around the table, say a memory that they had of them. So one of the things I want to say is don't be afraid to talk about them because, again, when it's a really big loss, they're always on their mind. So that's one aspect. And then the ambiguous loss one, the one which it's like, gosh, it's just so sad. We don't speak anymore. They're not the same anymore. I would say you can do the same things. You can still say this was so-and-so's memory or recipe, but sometimes that's a little bit more of a private thing where you can write a letter. And sometimes I say to people, it can be a no-send letter or a no-send card. Maybe you never even send it, but it says it's Thanksgiving or it's the winter holidays. And these are the ways I think about you, or this is how sad I am. And then you decide whether you want to send it or not.
A lot of families go through that.
Yeah. What about helping the young people in your household, your kids or grandkids, nieces, nephews? How do you help them kind of deal with loss too? Because for some, this could even be their first Thanksgiving without grandma or heaven forbid, without a parent. Those things happen.
Absolutely, yes. Within the last week, I've spoken with a family who has a younger one who they felt like out of nowhere just started crying and saying, I'm gonna, miss grandma so much this holiday. And they weren't really seeing it, I know. So one of the things that I think is really important and what I shared with them as well is you want to allow them space to process, right? So the person who, if I'm an adult, I might pull you aside and say, oh, this is such a hard time of year. Kids don't usually do that. They act it out. And so give them a place to do that. Give them some artwork and say to them, I wonder if you could make some pictures for grandma or for whoever you want to do that for. Again, bring it up to them, give them some suggestions. And then again, once they have the space to do it, they'll figure out what they want to do. They might say, well, I decided to do a poster or I decided to make some figures. They will take it and run, but allowing them the space to say, it's okay and it's important to process this time of year is really important.
And how would you say acknowledging both grief and joy at the same time is actually a good thing? It's not harmful. How would you say that?
I would say actually to a child, I would say, do you know that we can feel two things at once? Right? It's the same concept as two things can be true. Two feelings can be true. We can be so happy that it's the holidays. And sometimes people do feel guilt because they're like, it's the holidays and I'm supposed to be so happy, or I'm a kid and I am really excited for my presents, but does that make me bad because we have this loss in our family? So give them that permission and say, two things are often true. Not even can be true, they're often true. We can be sad in our heart and we can be excited that it's the holidays, and it doesn't make you bad because you feel them both.
Yeah, it's smart. Gosh, she's bringing up a lot of emotions, Dr. Ziegler. It's an important topic to talk about now. We appreciate you as always.
Yeah, thank you.